イスラムにおいては他者という考え方はなくてみんな兄弟であると。また今の新しい政権に対して希望を持っていると。決してイスラムは脅威ではないんだと。ただ貧困は物理的貧困、精神的貧困、モラルの貧困、これを宗教者が協力して取り組むことが大切であると。そういう意味でミャンマー委員会はお互いに知る努力をまず始めていく、そういう意味で平和教育を推進してきたと。そしてお互いの誤解を助長しているような流れを克服していくためには教育というものが必要であるというようなことを述べていただきました。アルハジさん、ありがとうございました。それではここで、場面転換ですね。はい、すみません。それではステージを転換いたしますので、準備ができるまでしばらくお待ちいただきたいと思います。パネルディスカッションの準備をいたしますので、しばらくこのままでお待ちいただきたいと思います。それではこれよりパネルディスカッションに入りたいと存じます。パネルディスカッションでは、今回訪日されているミャンマー委員会の皆様にご登壇いただきました。このパネルディスカッションでは、ミャンマーの課題と展望、平和と民主主義のための宗教者の役割、そしてリジョン・フォー・ピースを通した諸宗教協力の役割の3つのテーマにつきまして、ミャンマー委員会の皆様からお話を伺いたいと存じます。なお、パネルディスカッションのコーディネーターは、WCRP 国際委員会の杉野恭一副事務総長にお願いいたしたいと存じます。杉野副事務総長、よろしくお願いいたします。
Good afternoon, everybody. Perhaps this is once in my lifetime to moderate such a huge panel. But it's important for the religious leaders in Myanmar to be together, always together, to show their unity and solidarity. They are united in their commitment to peace and development. And we have three interesting mixed images in our mind. One is in the Japanese media. There is all the reports about new government, Aung San Suu Kyi's NLD win in the last elections, and Aung San Suu Kyi's new government, new president has been elected, and Myanmar is on the path to democracy, more open and peaceful society. That's an important image we have in our mind. Second image is we hear about still very active armed conflicts with minority groups. Myanmar has, as Cardinal Charles Bo mentioned, 135 ethnic groups in the country. It's a diverse society with different religions and different ethnicities. In that context, some of the ethnic groups, smaller groups, are fighting for their autonomy, self-determination, and their rights for equal and fair share of natural resources, etc. And also, in recent days, we hear about so-called Buddhist-Muslim conflict in the Rakhine State. Rakhine State has Buddhist communities, Rakhine ethnic group, and also Rohingya, or in Myanmar, they are called Bengalese population, Muslims, religiously. So there is conflict between those two groups in Rakhine State. So in addition to active armed conflicts, ongoing armed conflict, we do have Rakhine-specific conflict. And those conflicts have impacted day-to-day relationship among people in the country. Sometimes Facebook and other media, social media, are used. Some of the speakers used hijacked by extremist elements in different communities to incite hate, discrimination, and violence. The Myanmar religious leaders are ready to acknowledge all those difficulties and trying to clear the misunderstandings, misperceptions. At the same time, if there are still problems, real problems, they would like to work together to address those problems together. The third image we have is here in this room today. The power of religion in promoting peace and development, power of multi-religious collaboration, different communities working together for peace and development and prosperity and shared well-being. So we have those three interesting mixed images, promising hopeful new government with Aung San Suu Kyi's leadership, ethnic conflict, sometimes violent, and hate speech, discrimination still existing. And the third is a power of religion and multi-religious collaboration this Myanmar delegation represents. So I would like to moderate this session. My job is to ask each one of you to share your comments, but I know them a little bit better than you do, so I may use my moderation to choose right person to answer right aspect of the discussion. So in order to facilitate our discussion, there are three key points. One is understanding current challenges. What's happening? Different persons have different interpretation, and also there is some consensus among this group about what's happening, current situation, and what kind of issues they have. A second point is role of religion. What kind of role religion can play in addressing those challenges. And the third point is, of course, their hope and their commitment to multi-religious collaboration for peace. So, but of course, their comments may have mixed elements in one comment. So I don't want to limit them to a particular aspect. So I would like to start from Cardinal. Cardinal, you had opportunity to serve as the keynote presenter. And your remarks on welcoming the other and the Christian perspective and also the importance of addressing poverty issues and dialogue for among religions for eliminating poverty and also addressing education issues and so on. So, Cardinal, allow me to ask, apart from your key points from your presentation, how you respond to the question about current situation and the challenges and opportunities even for the country.
Thanks for the occasion. The country wakes from 60 years of oppression, lots of expectation on the new government, but the economy is still in the hands of very few people. Maybe less than 100 families benefit hugely from the wealth of Myanmar. crony capitalism is on the rise. There will be discontent if there is no inclusive economic growth that leaves the 70% of the people of Myanmar who are poor. The grip on the economy by the military elite still continues. So easily neo-fascist groups can emerge who can manipulate religion and find scapegoats among the minorities. This has happened in the last 5 years even. So religious conflict have killed hundreds and made thousands displaced. So what I would like to say is, so a vigilant inter-religious monitoring group is very much needed.
Thank you so much. So let's take 2 or 3 comments on this issue. So Shuiring, please.
Greetings to all of you in Minglaba. So I just want to make some comments on what is the strategic role of the religious leaders in our countries. I very much agree to all the presentations, and also I very much agree to my colleague. First, the role of the religious is to advocate to the people and also the authority and also to any levels of the people. Second, we are to promote the coordinations among ourselves and also in international community. And that one, we have to establish collaborations with others. And the fourth one, we have to promote the capacity building for peace and reconciliations. So even we are not a religious state, but the people in Myanmar are very much honor and respect to the religions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Let's hear from, allow me to ask Al-Hajj later. So I will ask Do Imo to make a short comment.
I'd like to say, Minglaba, my comment is, as a religious leader living in Myanmar, we are supporting and caring our people, especially for the vulnerable people. As you know, women and children are always victims by any conflicts, not only for the religious conflict, also the ethnic minority conflicts and the ethnic war conflict. So for my comment is, religious is not conflict in Myanmar. We have a lot of conflict, but people are used conflict as political instruments in Myanmar. So in our history and in the past, we are living together side by side. We are welcome each other. We are helping each other. Because of the politically using as a religious as a conflict, and then people are doubt each other and become in a distant each other. So that's why religious leaders they always try to collaborate and work together, especially for the poor in the every area. Through by the helping each other, we understand each other, and we welcome each other also. So this is in reality of the Myanmar people are living together in Myanmar. So I want to say that for us, as a religious leader, the religion is not a conflict in Myanmar. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Perhaps one more person, Sayadaw, please. Miyawadi Sayadaw, please.
I want to say good evening. Yes. Our country have so many issues and so many problems. You had already you had. The root cause of these problems are, I think, later government. Military government is all of the problems root. That's why we're trying to combat this government. His policy is, I think, the by-right rule. You know, everything he divide. He don't like unity. That's why these problems occur one by one. I think in the future, all of the problems will be better and better. I think, I hope. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. I think Miyawadi Sayadaw summarized it very beautifully. There is root causes, and in this discussion, it's obvious that there are many, many causes, quite complex causes in active conflicts. And there are political dimension, socio-economic dimension. Poverty is important part of that. And also education issues, lack of knowledge, ignorance, and the fear based on the ignorance. Those things contribute to the society with sometimes even hate and discrimination and violence. But there is another consensus among this group, that the importance of religion, and religious leaders can contribute to and supporting the new government they just established in promoting and addressing those issues, those challenges, political challenges, socio-economic and other challenges. So now it's important for us to mention that President of Religions for Peace-Myanmar is Mr. Woo Min Swe, and he has been leading our effort of advancing multi-religious collaboration in the country. So I would like to ask Woo Min Swe to add your own perspectives of the analysis of the current situation, and also how you have been working through Religions of Peace Myanmar to address the issues.
Minglava. My analysis on the current issue is there's a no conflict. There's a no religious conflict in Myanmar. But there's a conflict between the democratic people and the military extreme people since 1962. It was occurred this issue by the military government. So since we are living together side by side, before we got in Myanmar kingdom, since as Al-Haj Uelwin mentioned that about 1,000 years ago. But now there's a misunderstanding between one religion and the other because of the dictatorship military government since 1962. Because of this government, we are now least development country in the world. This is my analysis. and we become interreligious. We breaking our trust between one religion and another. It is made by the military government to hold their power. Before 2010 and after 2010, when the military government, the so-called semi-military democratic government, but they only change their uniform. They don't change their mindset and behavior. Within that Tan Sein government, within 5 years, they don't change their concept or behavior. So when they won in 2010, there's a no issue, especially religion conflict issue. But as you see, by election in 2011, there's out of 44 seats, NLD, the Aung San Suu Kyi party, got 43 seats. After that by-election, they shocked and make it this issue. They diverted the religion into exploited and the use religion conflict, and they diverted and exaggerated by their people, by their followers. Because since 1962, there's so many people, they invested in every layer at the religion, at the student, in the government staff, and also up to the village level. So they can easily make these issues, these conflicts. This is my analysis. So after 2011, these conflicts occur. So for the Religion of Peace-Myanmar, we analyze these issues and the root cause we know. So we have to make awareness to the grassroots level. So educate that to the grassroots level about these issues, to the Yakai community and also the Kachin state. There's two different conflicts. At the Yakai state, the community conflict occur in that area. At the Kachin state, there's an armed conflict. The causes are different. So RfP Myanmar is now forming the interfaith groups at the Kachin state, and also the Middle Burma, Meitila, there's a conflict in last 2013, and then Yakai state. By forming the interfaith groups up to the township level, grassroots level, we give these education and these awareness. And also, why these conflicts occur in that area? Because of the least development. Yakai state is the second least development area in Myanmar out of 14 region and state. Chin is first. So we have, without the development, there's no peace. If there area is no peace, you can't do the development. So we, Religion for Peace, Myanmar, have to do the development of that area. So we formed the interreligious group at this area and doing the development of the children and the empowerment of the women. So by doing the development, we build up the trust between religious groups, especially Islam and Buddhists and Christians at the Kachin area and Yakai area. By doing these development activities, we build up the trust, and our goal is reconciliation and to build up peace. That's our strategy doing Religion for Peace Myanmar for the peace in Myanmar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Un Min Swe. The final comments Un Min Swe mentioned is extremely important. When you understand the situation in Myanmar, there are three distinct categories. One is Rakhine State. You hear about Rohingya issues and so on. It's Rakhine Buddhist and Muslim communities in Rakhine State. And there is another conflict between Rakhine State and the central government. So it's Rakhine was the kingdom before, and there is a conflict between center and periphery. So that's another dimension. And Kachin State, there is active armed conflict. It's an armed conflict. Kachin is heavily populated by Christian communities, and they're demanding for their own autonomy. Autonomy is too strong, sorry. That yeah, in the federal system, they need some the rights to determine their own destiny. So that's a very important distinction, armed conflict in Kachin State. And third, U Min Swe mentioned Meiktila in the central part of Myanmar, where the incident happened between Buddhists and Muslims, and some violence and killings happened in that area. It's based more on rumors and kind of hate speech and those things. Anti-Islamic sentiments were there. So there are slightly different, differentiating situations when we discuss issues in Myanmar. And U Min Swe mentioned, as a president of Religions for Peace Myanmar, already Religions for Peace Myanmar has built interfaith, local interfaith committees in 3 areas: in Kachin State, in Rakhine State, and also Meiktila. Rakhine State, the situation is slightly more difficult. A week ago, U Min Swe and I were in Rakhine State, meeting with Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, and other communities. But the situation is slightly difficult there. But still, Religions for Peace Myanmar is working on building interfaith committee in order to do 3 things. Build trust. If there is high trust society, even if there are differences of opinion and occasional conflict, they can solve the problem if there is very, very high trust. So building trust is one, and achieving reconciliation. Wounds have to be healed. So reconciliation has to be established, and also building peace together as multi-religious forces. So those 3 points already, Religions for Peace Myanmar, only after 3 years since its establishment, has been working tirelessly on those fronts. In fact, they have succeeded in getting financial support from the US State Department and the other governments and the United foundations, private foundations. So their structure has evolved. No staff and no budget in 2012, and now they have 9 staff members. And sorry to mention the kind of monetary measure, but about $200,000 annual budget after 3 years. So it's a big accomplishment, and they have a lot to do still. But as I said, in the conflict areas, they have already started building important mechanism for religious communities to collaborate together. We continue our conversation based on my brief reference to Religions of Peace-Myanmar. Perhaps Father Joseph, would you like to add as the Secretary General of Religions of Peace-Myanmar?
Good evening, everyone. So for me, when my analysis also almost same with others, if you go to the root cause, it is the military government. So what they want is the power and the business with the crony. So wherever the conflicts come, like in Mijina area, Arakan area, the conflicts, when the conflicts is going on, they have the business with the crony. Like in Mijina, when the ethnics and armed groups are fighting, all the thick and all the gems are being taken away to China. At the same time, when Arakans, when they have problems there, the gas pipeline has been built from Myanmar to China. So the business and the power. So in that, when I reflected, what I found is, since 1962, the teachings of the religious doctrines are not taught properly in any of the schools. So that's why our own people, we do not know the basic doctrines of our own religions. So because of that, their behaviors, their attitudes, their mindsets have been changed. That's why now Mabat, monks also was mentioning, this was formed for the education, religious educations of the people. For us also, as Christians, we notice Sunday, during the worship time, the children have to go to the tuitions, or sometimes they have to go for some volunteering work and some activities. They couldn't come for the proper education, religious education for them. So now it is the time, now democracy has come. We hope we may be able to teach the children on our religious doctrine, proper doctrine, basic doctrine, so that they may change their behavior and there will be more understanding to one another. And also we need to have, as we, the religious leaders in the religion for peace, as we are working together, now our relationship, not only in the higher level, among the women network, in the religious network, and also youth network, and the children, we all have a good relationship. So I hope in the very near future, our relationship will be built, and also our trust will be built, and then we may be able to work together, and it will be a basic ground for the democracy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have 2 more speakers who haven't spoken yet. So Venerable Sopaka.
I would like to say my greeting. Hello, Minglawa. Today we very, very thank you, all of you. So I'm trying to best promote interfaith peace in Myanmar. And also, we would like also we promote that we are going to work there together for implementing peace process in the world. So our country before election, one slogan is come out from the Aung San Suu Kyi. Time to change. It is time to change. According to news, election government saying that time to change. I would like to say you, we need to change our mind. It is very important. The Buddha said, it is a Pali word, Sapa Babasa Akaranam Kusalasa Upasamada. Sajeda Baryodabanam Idam Bodhana Sasana. The last one is we purify our mind. That is there's meaning for peace. So we want to change our mind to peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Venerable. Dr. Latun.
Minglava, I think you all know the situation of Myanmar, and Religion for Peace is working towards the peace building. And now we got the opportunity to share with you, and we hope we can solve all the problems and build the peace with the joining hand with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Dr. Latun, when Wu Min-se and I were in Rakhine State, we witnessed how Religions of Peace Myanmar works. You have, in central part of Myanmar, you have all the religious associations and the leaders within the structure of Religions of Peace Myanmar, and in Rakhine State, through the linkages and connections, we were able to meet with all the relevant religious leaders in Rakhine State. So that's the way Religions of Peace Myanmar is working, and thank you for your leadership. Dr. Latun was invited by the President Thein Sein to be part of the investigation commission for the Rakhine conflict. So he is taking various important roles within the governmental and non-governmental settings. We have 10-15 minutes left. So we discuss different challenges faced by Myanmar today. And there are political, socio-economic, and cultural and historical, all those issues. And Venerable Sayadaw mentioned that oversimplification is not helpful. If we say the conflict is only religious conflict, that kind of simplified understanding may not help solve the problem. There are always complex challenges and the mixture of causes, and it's important to understand those causes clearly. And also there was a multi-religious consensus on the challenges and important path. Education is critical. People don't know what their rights and responsibilities are, and it's important for them to increase the knowledge of different faiths and also knowledge of respecting human dignity and shared well-being of all. So that the religious leaders have very important role to play in educating and raising awareness among general public and grassroots population. and Religions for Peace Myanmar's work focused on peace education, as Al-Hajj mentioned in his presentation. So the peace education and development programs helping children, those are all contributing to the building of peaceful and just society. We will use the remaining time to solicit some comments from you about the importance and the significance of Religions for Peace Myanmar's work in the new situation in Myanmar with the new government. So what kind of hope you have for the new government, and what the Religions of Peace and interfaith community in general can play in helping the government's path for peace and prosperity in Myanmar. So Cardinal, would you like to take the floor?
Yes, I'll be just very brief on this, just mentioning a few points on the role of multi-religions and cooperation through the religion for peace. First of all, one, religion for peace need to organize at national level as well as grassroots level for mutual understanding, meetings, and celebration. It's not enough just to have religion for peace at the higher level, but it's necessary that we go to the grassroots level. For example, last year, December 15, 16, during my 25th year as Episcopal ordination, we managed to gather about 100,000 people of all religions, and we had the sermons and the talks of four main religious leaders, including Myauri Siaro was there. So that's a need of a grassroots level understanding and organization. That's the first one. Second is that religion for peace need to work, especially among the poor. Poverty is our common religion, and 60% of our people are poor, and I think we have to give focus to the poorest and those who are in the peripheries. Number three is that religion for peace need to work on social sectors like education and health and the capacity building. We like very much rely or ask the cooperation from Japan, especially to help in these programs of education, health, and capacity building. What's happening in this past few years is that there are business people coming from abroad. They just come for Myanmar becomes a looting ground for their land, for the land, and for the natural resources. There are very few people that come for the program to help the people in the world. So this religion for peace, the collaboration between Myanmar and Japan, really to target the programs for developing agencies through cooperation. And lastly, the religion for peace need to establish a monitoring mechanism through which hate speeches, abuse of religion for politics, the oppression of the ethnic, the oppression of the religious minorities, all should be really, those should go under this monitoring mechanism, and which religion for peace could establish in different areas, different places, different regions. So I just 1, 2, 3, 4 for the future collaboration between Myanmar and Japan. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Umin-se, please.
One thing I want to suggest and invite you, Japanese people, through you, Japanese businessmen, I want to invite to come and invest in social business in Myanmar. We CSO. I'm also the NGO worker, so I can help you for your social business. Most of the, within 5 years, the last 5 years, when the session left from the West UN, EU and American, all the business and Southeast Asia businessmen come to do their own business for the profit. For our Myanmar vulnerable families, that the Cardinal mentioned that 70% of the people are poor and vulnerable, live under the $2 per day. So I want to invite you, Japanese people, to come and invest in social business. I want to help to you to do the social business in Myanmar for the vulnerable family. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Al-Hajj Beluin, I skipped you in the first round. Would you like to make a final comment on the role of religions for peace?
Well, the role of religion for peace, we should, like all our leaders have stated, trying to find out and diagnose the root cause of the disease. Religion is very sensitive and it can whip up emotion. So people with vested interests, they use as a trigger to explode and gain their vested interests. So point number one, as a religious leader, we need to educate our people. Religious leaders should be extinguishing the fire, not adding fuel to the fire. So having said that, there are still hate speeches, but there are also hate writings also. Now, because one of our vice president happened to be from the Christian faith and a Chin. So there, I noticed some writings have come out attacking not to the person, but to the religion. And not only to the religion, but to the concept of creation. People believing in creation, and we as a Buddhist, we don't believe in creation. Oh, they have such a wrong concept. How can this kind of man rule our country? This kind of incitement, like one of the venerable monk in our country said, fire engines should extinguish fire. It should not be putting fuel on the fire. So the speeches of these religious leaders are very important. So the Religion for Peace is trying to advocate the religious leaders to study the true teaching of the others and try to impart those knowledge to their own community. A Muslim should talk to his Muslim community about the true teaching of Buddha, about the true teaching of Jesus, about the true teaching of Lord Krishna. And vice versa, each religious leader should impart the correct and true belief. They may not agree with those beliefs. They need not endorse on it, but they should at least acknowledge and accept and know what those people really believe. So that is very important. So that is what Religion for Peace is trying to do. We have conducted 2 TOT, training of the trainers. We try to impart some basic religious knowledge of each religion, and those trainers will go back to their respective community, and those what they have learned will trickle down to the grassroots level. We are trying to endeavor in that also. This is just only one aspect of our activities. And as our leaders have stated, we need support and encouragement and empowerment from friends of Myanmar, from Japan. Please try to help us again. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Do Imo, would you like to add anything?
I would like to say our hope with the new government. All the people, including us, are very much supporting to the NLD. It's like changing of country and taking the people power from the dictatorship power. So I hope that the religious leader and also the people take responsible and accountability to support our new government, because the new government are now facing a lot of problems or causes. So they need our support, also our religious leaders' support. We can tell our community to support and think about the justice and also the rules of law is very important for the people. Because of the rules of law is, unstable in the past, so people are afraid of the law. Actually, law is protect for the people. So we need to give more information to the grassroots level to understand about the law and also to understand about the citizen rights and other women rights, child rights, and to collaborate together to give more information and education. As you know, we are, our people are very low access of the education, so people are very easy to believe whatever the religious leaders are talking about that. So it's very important role of the religious leader to give the right information to our respective community to come together and to support our people's government. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So Ling, please.
Thank you, moderator. So I just want to make one comment. Previously, our country, the structure is very much inclusiveness, like compound mentality. This is a Karen compound, this is a Kachin compound, this is a Baptist compound, this is a Anglican compound, this is a Buddhist village, this is a Christian village. This means that we are very much influenced by the compound mentality. Nowadays, we totally change. When I came to the Japan, I saw you are not having a compound mentality, but we have to change from compound mentality to community mentality, inclusiveness. So the religion for peace needs to be promote or acknowledge to change from compound mentality to the community mentality. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Venerable Sados.
Yeah, our religious leaders' role in Burma is very important. I agree that. But however, in the central part of Burma, now they are quite stable and also understand because the religious leaders help one another. But please remember, our country is now severely or very tense. There